You know how some nations show immense promise but still grapple with complex, really deep-rooted challenges? Imagine a country so deeply understood, maybe not just by its demographics, but by how its communities collectively think. Think about advanced technology acting almost like its national nervous system, optimizing everything, policy, public services, turning diversity into, well, its ultimate strength. That's the audacious, almost surgical insight we're uncovering today. We're taking a deep dive into Malaysia. It's a nation at a really fascinating crossroads, confronting persistent socioeconomic issues, despite, significant progress. Our mission today is to unpack this innovative model. It proposes leveraging cutting-edge AI and, maybe surprisingly, a really insightful view of human cognition to transform Malaysia's socioeconomy. The goal here is groundbreaking efficiency, saving time, resources, effort, bringing fast results, and maybe even positioning Malaysia as a pioneer for the future of national governance.
Yeah, and we'll be drawing from a pretty rich collection of research. We're looking at national development frameworks, AI governance, of course, and this unique concept, mapping diversity. Not just by region or ethnicity, like you said, but by how different communities think. It's about getting to the core of what makes a nation thrive in this digital age. It offers a kind of diagnostic tool for national vitality, unlike any other we've seen.
Okay, so let's unpack this. Malaysia has seen rapid development, infrastructure, education, digitalization are all moving forward. But what are these persistent structural challenges our research keeps pointing to?
Well, what's clear from the sources is that Malaysia faces rising socioeconomic inequality, big gaps between urban and rural areas, plus issues like brain drain and innovation stagnating in key sectors like STEM and R&D.
Right.
Then there's political fragmentation, policies that aren't always consistent, and a real deficit in institutional trust. The sources also point to an underutilization of AI and digital tech in public services, even environmental vulnerabilities. The COVID-19 pandemic, for instance, really exposed some fragilities there in state planning and public responsiveness.
And it sounds like the traditional approaches, they just haven't quite managed to close these gaps, have they? Despite big national blueprints like Vision 2020 or the 12th Malaysia Plan, what are the main implementation hurdles?
Yes, exactly. The sources detail things like policy discontinuity,
Yeah.
frequent political changes disrupt things. There's over-centralization, which can limit local innovation, and a kind of top-down technocracy that, well, it struggles to build legitimacy right down at the grassroots level.
Okay.
There's also mention of opaque public spending, fragmented digital infrastructure across different ministries and states. Essentially, these legacy governance models just haven't kept pace with the digital age. That leads to these persistent gaps, even with good intentions.
But what if there was a radically new way? The research we've explored points to artificial intelligence as a fresh governance paradigm for Malaysia. How exactly does AI become this strategic brain for ethical decision support, leading to more efficient, faster results?
The core idea, and this is crucial, is that AI augments, it doesn't replace human leadership.
Right, augmentation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It can diagnose public needs using real-time analytics, citizen feedback. It can simulate long-term policy outcomes, optimize how resources are allocated based on performance. It can even monitor corruption and inefficiencies transparently.
Wow.
And it could interface directly with citizens through participatory digital platforms. It provides a truly evidence-based approach to governance. This is about making the whole system much smarter, more responsive, a real leap forward.
That sounds incredibly powerful. But, AI comes with its own challenges. What are the critical obstacles Malaysia would face trying to adopt this, especially if it wants to be a pioneer? And importantly, how did the sources suggest tackling those deeply entrenched power dynamics? When you implement systems that reduce patronage and discretionary power.
Those are definitely significant hurdles, and the research is quite clear on them. Digital literacy gaps, uneven access, particularly in underserved communities. Those are big ones.
Mm-hmm.
There's also public skepticism, often due to past institutional issues, and critical cybersecurity and data privacy concerns that need really robust regulation.
Absolutely.
Now, regarding political resistance, the sources emphasize that tackling this needs transparency, clear regulation, strong public engagement, and crucially, co-designing these AI systems locally.
Co-design.
Yes, involving communities to build legitimacy and show tangible benefits that, frankly, outweigh the loss of old power structures. It's about demonstrating undeniable value and accountability.
That sounds like a massive undertaking, though. So what does a phased rollout look like? How would you actually implement such an AI-driven transformation?
It's designed as a strategic, gradual approach. Importantly, starting from the grassroots up. First, phase 1. civic-centric AI platforms. This involves launching community-based digital tools.
Okay, community level first.
Right. Think AI assessing local development needs, maybe enabling participatory budgeting at the local council level, even monitoring service satisfaction or flagging corruption red flags. Pilot programs could strategically start in diverse areas, say rural Kelantan, maybe Sabah, and some urban low-income neighborhoods in KL. Build momentum, prove the concept.
Okay, phase 1, grassroots. What's next?
Then comes phase 2, sectoral AI integration in public institutions. Here, AI tools get deployed in key sectors.
Like health, education.
Exactly. Health for predictive resource allocation, pandemic preparedness, education for personalized learning pathways, smart farming and agriculture, flood prediction for the environment, anti-corruption monitoring and finance. The goal is intelligence and efficiency, remember, without replacing core public sector roles. It's augmenting, not automating people away.
Got it. Augmenting key sectors. And the final phase.
And finally, phase 3. National AI Governance Brain. This is the big picture. Establishing a central AI-driven planning and forecasting entity. This would operate under a nonpartisan National AI Council.
Nonpartisan, that seems key.
Absolutely crucial. This entity would simulate national development scenarios, analyze gaps between states, predict policy impacts, and act as a kind of public performance dashboard. And, critically, it must be legally safeguarded from political interference to maintain its integrity and, importantly, public trust.
So if this is implemented thoughtfully, what are the benefits we might see in, say, the next 3 to 5 years? This really sounds like a potential game changer for national efficiency and, well, future positioning.
The expected outcomes are quite compelling. Increased public trust, for one, reduced political clientelism and inefficiencies, more equitable development across regions, and definitely improved public service outcomes, health, education, transport, you name it. Ultimately, it positions Malaysia as a regional leader in ethical AI governance within ASEAN. It could really set it apart as a pioneer for future national governance.
Speaking of Malaysia's unique strengths, our research brings up this really fascinating analogy for its diverse ethnic groups, states, regions, viewing them as organs, tissues, cells in a living body. What's the insight there?
It completely reframes diversity. It sees it as a fundamental strength, not a liability. Each component, whether it's a specific ethnic group or a state, contributes uniquely to the nation's vitality. The challenge isn't the difference itself. It's more the historical lack of, let's say, clear functional specialization, mutual interdependence, and coordinated efforts. So the proposed solution is to systematically map these differences and then build this AI-enabled governance system to coordinate them, like a body's nervous and circulatory systems, ensuring everything works in harmony, maximizing collective potential.
That's a very compelling way to put it. So how do we even begin mapping a nation's components, like organs? What dimensions are involved?
The framework suggests mapping across 4 key dimensions. First, the basics: demographic and geographic mapping, identifying groups, migration patterns, existing development zones like the Greater Klang Valley or the interior of Borneo.
Standard stuff, okay.
Second, socio-economic profiling, evaluating dominant sectors per state, Penang for electronics, Kilimantan maybe for agriculture, looking at education outcomes, infrastructure quality.
Makes sense.
Third, and this gets interesting, innovation style and cognitive preferences. This involves assessing openness to innovation, patterns of entrepreneurship, even integrating traditional knowledge systems.
Oh, okay, the how they think part.
Exactly. And fourth, governance and institutional capacities, examining state-federal coordination, public sector competence, and identifying those gaps in trust or data transparency within the existing structures.
And then the idea is to use this detailed map to identify specialized organ roles for each state or group.
Precisely. For example, you could see Penang as a high-tech export hub, really focusing on semiconductor R&D. Kelantan, perhaps, specializing in agro-processing and halal logistics, building on its Islamic cultural identity.
Right, playing to strengths.
Sabah could gear towards ecotourism and conservation tech, maybe leveraging indigenous knowledge. Sarawak in renewable energy and smart forestry. The Klang Valley, well, the AI fintech hub seems natural. The AI coordination system then integrates live data from all these organs, uses AI to match surpluses and deficits across states, forecast bottlenecks, even detect grievances. It acts like a national dashboard.
A dashboard for the whole country.
Yeah, treating every region as vital, interdependent. It even allows for creating digital twin models.
Digital twins?
Yeah.
Like virtual replicas.
Exactly. Virtual replicas of a region or a policy. It allows for safe experimentation without real-world risk. You can test things out digitally first.
This whole idea gets even more specific, though. Our sources suggest looking beyond just traditional ethnic and regional divides and applying Jungian cognitive functions.
Yep.
That's, well, it's almost like the MBTI personality indicator, but for entire communities. That really shifts the paradigm, doesn't it?
It truly is a game changer. The idea is to understand how different communities collectively process information and make decisions. It emphasizes complementarity, not conflict.
So explain these functions a bit, like say or nigh.
Right, so for those maybe unfamiliar, Jungian functions are basically different ways our minds perceive the world and make judgments. Think of extroverted sensing, say, as being highly tuned into the here and now.
Okay, the present moment.
Yes, focusing on what's immediately observable, tangible. It's about practical, hands-on experience. Contrast that with introverted intuition, ni. That's more about seeing patterns, forming deep insights, anticipating future possibilities, those aha moments leading to long-term strategy.
Interesting.
And the sources also mention others, like extroverted thinking, T for efficiency, getting things done, and introverted feeling, focusing on authenticity, personal values. The real brilliance here is applying these very human cognitive styles, usually used for individuals, to whole national communities.
And you can hypothetically map these cognitive styles to Malaysian regions, giving us a totally new dimension of understanding.
Yes, the sources offer some fascinating hypothetical examples. The Klang Valley urban core high-speed startup environment might show strong extroverted intuition, ni for new ideas, combined with extroverted thinking, T for efficient execution.
Neat.
Then you look at the East Coast states, like Kelantan and Terengganu, more community-rooted, moral economy-based. They might show strong introverted sensing, C for tradition, and extroverted feeling, E for social values, harmony.
Saif, tradition, and harmony.
Penang and the Northern Corridor. Maybe excelling in analytical innovation, perhaps using introverted thinking, T and Ne. Sarawak could be visionary, harmony-focused, maybe Ni and Fei. And the Johor-Singapore Economic Zone, super efficient, business-focused, perhaps dominated by Te and Se. This gives a much deeper, more nuanced understanding of regional strengths and their inherent ways of operating.
That's incredibly insightful. So how would correlating these cognitive styles with development outcomes actually help? It's not just about matching regions for projects, is it? There must be more to it.
Not at all, you're right. The AI system can use this mapping not just to match complementary cognitive regions for joint projects, like we discussed, but also to predict where certain policy approaches might face cultural resistance or where they might thrive. This allows for hyper-localized, culturally intelligent policy design.
So tailoring the approach based on how a region thinks.
Precisely. If a region's dominant style points towards stability and tradition, the AI might flag rapid top-down changes as high risk. It might instead suggest pilot programs or more collaborative implementation strategies. It highlights both positive impacts and potential challenges. That vision plus execution style, net, drives tech economies, sure, but maybe risks burnout, while a tradition plus harmony style, SIFE, ensures stability but might resist rapid change.
So give us a concrete example. How might this work in practice?
Well, the sources suggest an interesting pairing. The NEAT-driven Klang Valley, remember, ideation and execution with the SIFE-driven Kelantan, rooted in tradition and cohesion.
Okay, Klang Valley and Kelantan.
They could co-develop an Islamic fintech platform. This blends cutting-edge innovation with deep moral economy roots. It plays to each region's natural strengths and their preferred ways of operating. This kind of approach helps bridge identity divides, drives smart specialization, and significantly enhances adaptive governance by leveraging these unique thinking styles inherent across the nation.
Okay, this isn't just theory then. The research lays out a comprehensive plan for actually implementing this integrated cognitive AI governance model for Malaysia. It even includes resource requirements, estimated costs.
That's right. It's a full model overview. It combines the human body analogy, the Jungian cognitive mapping, and that AI-enabled coordination platform acting as a digital nervous system. Key components include that initial cognitive mapping and extensive data collection, obviously robust AI platform development, targeted pilot projects, broad capacity building, necessary governance reform, and, of course, continuous monitoring and evaluation. It's a holistic plan, really designed for real-world application and systemic change.
And what kind of investment are we talking about for such a comprehensive overhaul over, say, 3 to 5 years?
The total estimated budget for implementing this full model in Malaysia is somewhere between RM 39.5 million and RM 58 million. That's roughly 8 to 12 million euros over that 3 to 5 year period.
So significant, but maybe not astronomical compared to other major transformations.
Exactly. It's comparable to major digital transformation initiatives globally. It shows it's a significant but feasible investment for such a profound shift. Funding could strategically come from various sources: national bodies like the Economic Planning Unit, international partners like the World Bank or UNDP, perhaps ASEAN initiatives, even private firms and state governments could play a role.
Okay, that makes sense. But the research also mentions applying this model elsewhere, even parallel pilots in other countries. What's the strategic thinking behind that?
Yeah, the framework is explicitly designed for scalability and global applicability. The sources propose that creating parallel pilots in different countries actually makes strategic sense.
How so?
Well, you learn from each other's adaptations from the diverse contexts. As an example, the source actually provides a detailed budget breakdown for a potential parallel pilot in Bosnia. They estimate about 7.6 million euros over roughly 5 years.
Interesting. Bosnia as a comparison.
Right. It demonstrates the model's robust nature, its potential for universal appeal across different governance systems, different cultures. It allows for invaluable cross-context learning. And frankly, it validates the scalability of the approach, strengthening its global credibility and helping refine the model itself.
So what does this all mean for you, our listener? We've taken a deep dive into how Malaysia's rich diversity, often seen as a challenge, could actually be its greatest strategic asset. By mapping its collective cognitive styles, as we've discussed, and integrating this AI-enabled governance system, the nation could potentially transform into a responsive, intelligent, truly integrated organism. A real pioneer in this form of future governance.
And this model proposes a pivot, doesn't it? From that sometimes opaque, top-down governance to something more inclusive, accountable, and, well, logic-driven. It's not about machines replacing human leadership, let's be clear on that. It's about augmenting national coherence, foresight, fairness in what's an increasingly complex world. It's about achieving significant progress with much greater efficiency and speed, making sure resources are optimized for maximum impact.
So here's something to think about. How might recognizing the unique cognitive styles of different communities going beyond just their demographics transform policymaking and maybe foster genuine unity in other diverse nations around the world? Something to mull over until our next deep dive.